unconscious is hard to gain access to. It's hard to quantify and measure, and if you get interested in it, you can be called mystical if you're not careful.
Mm-hmm.
But Jungians are assistants to help people find their individual relationship to their own psyche, which means often their own dreams, which are personal communications just to them from the depths of their own being. And it can really help people stay on course. Their dreams can. A lot of times the dreams are compensatory. If you're looking at things in a one-sided way, the dreams will push you a little bit in the other direction. If you overdo it in terms of making achievement and success the centerpiece of your entire life, a dream might mention that you're climbing too high and you're missing out on things in the valley below. But it's playful. The psyche is playful. It uses the language of images much more than words. And that's another reason why it has so little status, because it's hard to quantify images. They're also individual. It's hard to do surveys about people's dreams. You can't look at them statistically. Well, the dream has enormous value for people because, first of all, it occurred from inside them, and it tends to be come with a sort of strong group of feelings or even awe that are like a miniature religious conversion for people not into any religion but into a religious attitude of respect and interest for something that's beyond understanding. So even though you can't understand it fully or analyze it all the way, you can apprehend it, and your life can have a meaningful quality because you are carrying around this image with you that guides you. For example, I remember when my kids started going to expensive schools, I dreamt that I was trading in my little Volkswagen Beetle for a huge tugboat. And they were both painted the same red color. And I was so sad to let go of the little car. But the tugboat was in excellent condition, and the dream sort of compensated for my fear that I wouldn't be able to be a provider to the whole family. And did I have the motive power to earn enough to put everybody through school? And that the tugboat image was more important to me and more appropriate image of what my motivation could be. Dreams like that are very helpful. The fact that Jungian interests aren't very popular anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they are pretty popular in various parts of the country. In the big cities on the coasts, there are Jungian institutes, and there's one in Chicago also. They're in Philadelphia, New York, Boston, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Chicago. And there may be others too. But that means that there's a sort of critical mass of people with an interest in Jung in those cities, and it isn't too freakish. But here in Little Ann Arbor, as it happens, there aren't any, or there are very few people with this interest. The people that do have that interest are very hardy souls and are good friends to me, but there isn't an institute. Jungian ideas didn't catch on quite as much. It is an industrial area. It's a no-nonsense area of where practical application is king, and but there are individuals that have this interest because there are, for instance, there's an artistic community in Ann Arbor and in Detroit, and people that deal with images professionally tend to get interested in images for their own healing. And that's one group where Jungian ideas has caught on. But usually people who come into psychotherapy have no idea of my interest in Jung. I don't force any methods on them. Just try to have a very interactive dialogue to help them problem solve whatever things are troubling them. But at some point, particularly when people get stuck and have gone as far as they can consciously, then the dreams can appear that break the deadlock and give a little helping hand, either a gentle touch if a person isn't too far off course, or something more like a nightmare if a person has an attitude toward their life that's dangerously one-sided. So, but I think the fact that it's a manufacturing area has meant that the emphasis is on the rational, and that's very important for understanding things in the first half of life, I think. But as irrational phenomena start to accumulate, including dreams, emotions, things like that, a person finds themselves drawn into a confrontation with the unconscious, discovering that it exists. If their spouse dies, or if they get divorced, or if they get physically ill, they'll have a sense of encountering something bigger than them that they can't control, and that's another sort of precursor for discovering the unconscious.